Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Now, in a turn of events that will not encourage the Fed to cut rates, meme coins have been doing extremely well. And by extremely well, I mean they're on a rocket ship. If a fund manager were to uh, actually achieve the returns that meme coins achieved in the last week, if they achieved those returns over a course of 5 years, they will have been considered to have done extremely well. So, first and foremost, let me talk about my view of meme coins just from a Sharia perspective. Now, as it relates to um, that, my approach is that so long as we are not hurting anyone with the coins or the things that we're investing in, so long as the things we're investing in are not promoting something that is haram, so long as they're not reliant on interest bearing debt or promoting interest bearing debt, so long as they're not doing anything objectionable, then I can't really say that this is something that's uncomfortable from a Sharia perspective. It's like if someone were to buy, I don't know, a pet rock, which used to be a thing in the United States. They used to have pet rocks, and they used to be resold for many multiples what they were originally bought for. To me, that's not. This is a hobby, something that people can get into, and I'm not comfortable saying that they're uncomfortable. I feel like that would be overstepping in terms of a Sharia perspective. That being said, I would encourage you to consult multiple sources and go with that which makes the most sense to you. Generally speaking, however, I will say I do have a bias for things that have utility, things that are actually going to be beneficial. I don't really believe in wasting one's life on things that are just completely without any benefit to anyone. I think as a Muslim, you need to make sure that your time is spent towards adding to your good deeds so that you have a good afterlife. And not much time and effort should be spent on things that are just inconsequential. So, with that being said, let's talk about meme coins. I picked out four of the biggest movers in the last week, and I'm going to tell you what I think about each one of them. So, without further ado, let's get started. As always, this is not financial advice. Be sure to do your own due diligence before making any investing decisions. So, the four tokens that I'm going to talk about, one should be very familiar to you if you're familiar with the channel. The first one is Dogecoin. And by the way, these numbers are probably already, even though I took them just a short while ago, they're already outdated considering how fast these things are moving. So it's up, more than 100% in the last week. Alhamdulillah, that was the biggest position really in our PIF crypto portfolio, even before the run up. And now it's even more of a big position. Pepe is up more than 400%. Something called DogWifhat is up more than 300%. Bonk is up more than 200%. So let's talk about these and see at least what I think about them. All right, so Pepe, it's launched on Ethereum. So you already know transaction fees are going to be through the roof. So really, like small transactions are not practical on Ethereum. So that really limits its potential utility in the future. It's based on Pepe the Frog, which I find to be a very ugly meme, an ugly face. I don't get the appeal of it. 420 billion tokens, no burn, no inflation, 100% of supply in circulation as per coin market cap. Has not seen any real world utility. Again, this is not surprising considering it's built on Ethereum. And the only reason it has any relevance is because the number goes up, right? The price of this meme token is going up, and that's why it has some relevance. It's just complete, in my opinion, waste of time. But if you look at its market cap, it's 3 billion and counting fast. Now, keep in mind, as it relates to market cap, we're not talking about how much money was actually used to purchase these tokens. We're talking about the last trade that happened, at what price did that trade happen, and then multiply that last price by the entire supply of the token. So there's a big difference between market cap, for example, and liquidity for a token. So make sure you understand the difference, because market cap can be deceiving. The second, so my summary of that is just complete waste of time. The Pepe token, that is, I don't see it having any utility ever, and I think probably it's going to die off and just go to oblivion, basically. And a lot of people that are sitting on a lot of returns with that token are going to be devastated when that eventually happens. This is my prediction. I could be wrong, but I think probably if you are sitting on any profits, then might not be a bad idea to take at least some profits off the table, because these things have a habit of ending very badly. The second token I'm going to talk about is Bonk. Now, Bonk is based on the Solana blockchain. It's dog themed, like Dogecoin, the original meme token, and that had a lot of success. So by extension, Bonk did as well. Well, I shouldn't say that, but the idea of creating a dog themed meme coin proved itself with Dogecoin, so they kind of copied that. Now it's based on Solana, which is actually an advantage. Transactions on Solana are essentially for free, and they're extremely fast. So it lends itself to having a utility. The total supply, 100 trillion tokens, that's just a made up number, basically. Well, I guess not so made up when you remember that the debt of the United States may reach that in, I don't know, 10 years. Actually, probably less than that. We're already, I think, at 40 trillion. So yeah, maybe it's a more realistic number than I'm giving credit to. No burn, 70% of the supply is in circulation. Now, it was basically airdropped to create liquidity on Solana decentralized exchanges. That makes sense as a use case. You need a, I guess, medium of exchange between all of these crypto project tokens. So I do see, an iota of a utility here. It's not like complete pure meme like the Pepe token is. And most of its utility, however, or most of its attention, the attention that it has gathered so far, has been simply a function of its number going up. Despite, as I mentioned, recognizing its utility as a provider of liquidity for Solana decentralized exchanges, which have some projects that at least theoretically could have some real world utility in the future. And it was actually the best performing asset in crypto asset in 2023. So it has a pretty strong record. Now, when you look at its market cap, and this is outdated, by the way, but it's 2.5 billion, climbing the ranks fast. Now, the ultimate argument against cutting interest rates, we have DogWifhat. And so when you look this up on CoinMarketCap, what it says about DogWifhat: popular meme, DogWifhat vibes with friends on chain. That's the about. Okay, they're not even trying. They have no respect for anyone buying it. This is just what they're going to say about it, and it's based on the Solana blockchain. It's dog themed, except now they added a hat. So yeah, so don't say it's redundant. They do have a hat. 10 billion tokens, no burn, and has not seen any real world utility. You should not be surprised by that. Now, how much is a hat how much is a hat worth? Well, for DogWifhat, 1.6 billion is its market cap. Now, again, I really think if you're sitting on any gains here, it may be a good idea to take some profits, because there's nothing supporting this at all. There's no utility, no organic demand. This is hype, right? Um, then again, it shouldn't be at one. I would have said this when it had a market cap of 1 million. And now it's at more than 1.5 billion. So these things are hard to predict, but I would not be betting the farm on something like this, that's for sure. And make sure that you're not the greater fool that is providing liquidity to a project with no utility. I mean, again, I'm not going to go. I make a distinction between being financially wise, maximizing wisdom, and saying something is haram, which is a much higher threshold to cross. So what I don't contain the the final verdict on what is financially wise, and perhaps someone else sees some utility, and perhaps it ends up having utility in someone, and it can see that more than I can. So I don't like mixing the word haram and getting the Sharia involved in things where it's not clear that uh, it is involved in. So I would limit myself to just the financial aspect of this, and to say that this is a very risky thing. If you're sitting on gains, I think it is wise to take some profits. All right, Dogecoin. This is the token that we actually have in our portfolio. Is created as a joke. It's actually a fork of Litecoin, which is a fork of Bitcoin, with steady falling and predictable inflation rates. So the fact that it was created as a joke, I don't think is. I think is probably a feature more than a bug, because people like things that don't take themselves too seriously. So I think that's part of its appeal. And when you're trying to create like a digital currency, I think having mass appeal is very important. So that I don't, even though it's criticized because it was created as a joke, there are a lot of things that were created with very serious intention that ended up becoming a joke and going to zero. So if you look at the United States, it was created as an experiment. It wasn't really created as something people thought that would last, and yet it has, and it's the strongest country in the world. So, the origin of something does not necessarily determine the end result. The second thing I'll say is that it is a fork of Litecoin, which is a fork of Bitcoin. So basically, the code is very similar to the code of Bitcoin. The only difference is that it doesn't have a max supply like Bitcoin does. So Bitcoin has 21 million. Dogecoin doesn't have a max supply. It does have a max issuance per unit of time. So 5 billion tokens every year are issued of Dogecoin, which means that the inflation rate is steady, declining with time, and it's predictable. And I think that's a good feature to have in any currency. It's the original meme coin. It reached mainstream with the support of Elon Musk. He tweeted about it a lot. And the utility is that it has been used for payments and tipping. And I actually have used it for payments. I've made payments with it many a times. I've sent money using it. I think it could be faster, especially when compared to something like Solana. And that's what I think is the appeal of perhaps Bonk. But it's usable. It certainly has less fees than something like a PayPal or Western Union. So if you're sending money to, let's say, Egypt or Turkey or something like that, it's much easier to do it through crypto, and Dogecoin is one option to do that. And it has a community that has withstood this test of time. Like, we're coming on the basically 10th anniversary, I think, of Dogecoin, and it's still around. and there's still a very vibrant community that supports it. So all of these, I think, are features. Now, if you look at its market cap, it's in the top 10 in terms of market cap amongst all cryptocurrencies, which is, I think, pretty significant. I mean, and it maintained its top 10 ranking even throughout the bear market. So it has what's called the Lindy effect going for it. I'll talk about that in a second. I'll also mention a few points of merit for this coin that actually caused us to add it to the PIF crypto portfolio a while ago. So it is used for payments in a number of different merchants, most notably probably Tesla and SpaceX. You can buy some of their merch using Dogecoin. Elon Musk has teased integration of Dogecoin with X, the social media platform that he now runs, and that would be huge in terms of increasing its utility. So if you wanted to tip a creator, if you wanted to buy an article, if you wanted to buy a piece of content, if you wanted to pay for your subscriptions on X with Dogecoin, you may be able to do that. Now, there's no confirmation that this is the case, but he has teased that this may in fact be the case. And also, there is a mission, Doge One, of sending an actual physical Dogecoin to the moon. So, because its initial sort of call to arms for Doge community was to the moon. So they're actually going to send an actual physical Dogecoin to the moon. So, I mean, I think that will be probably a pretty big marketing event for the token. And then you had the Lindy effect that I spoke to you about, which is basically that with some things, the longer it stays, the longer it lives, the more likely it is to live another unit of time, right? So, and I think the Lindy effect applies to meme tokens. The longer a meme token has been around, the more likely it is that it's going to stick around in the future. The shorter the time period since its inception, the more likely it is that the token goes to zero. So, amongst meme coins, I think Dogecoin has the Lindy effect working the most in its favor. So, with that being said, I'd encourage you to become part of our growing community. We have a really special community that is sharing insights with each other daily, and I think now is perhaps the time, more than any other time, to be involved in something like this, considering the bull run that we're in, and considering the amount of returns that people have been achieving. I think now would be a good time to invest some time into learning these things and sharing ideas with other halal conscious investors. So with that being said, I'll take some questions very quickly. Walaikum salam. Is it halal to invest in meme coins? I mentioned my opinion at the start. Just wanted to ask one question. Can I go long in Bitcoin if margin is not there in MT5? Is that halal? I'm not sure what you mean by MT5, but long is just buying and holding. So that is halal. Assalamu alaikum, brother Rakan. What do you think of CleanSpark stock? Different topic, but I'll tell you, we have it in our portfolio. So make of that what you will. Okay. What is your view for Myron Iron for the year ahead? Still bullish? I can tell you that we hold one of those names in our portfolio, and again, if we're obviously not going to hold something that we're not bullish on. So trading on MT5 is haram. I'm not sure what that means. Shiba Inu. Yeah, I knew I was going to get a Shiba Inu question. I guess So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Shiba Inu is built on Ethereum, and I'm not bullish on anything built on Ethereum. It actually stinks. I was trying to do something on Ethereum over the weekend, and it's just an abomination, an engineering abomination. I don't know if the upgrade is going to fix it, but anything on Ethereum, I'm short on basically. Short. As a matter of speech, I'm not actually short. Just wanted to ask one question. Can I go long in BTC if margin? Okay, come on, man. You're asking the same question many times. All right. Thank you, Rashad. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Until next time, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.